Why, hello there, all. Nice to hear bringing you a knife review. Can you guess what pocket knife we're reviewing today is? I think it's by Finch. It's subtle, but if you look right in this area, you can kind of tell. I mean, it doesn't say it multiple times or anything, but it's there. It's a several places. And it doesn't want to open. This is not a new pocket knife, by the way. This is a knife that I've had. Just deciding not to open on screen, apparently. Finally, this is the Finch Reciprocity. No, I don't know why it's called that. This particular one has this, as many Finch have the Finch glow-in-the-dark shield in it, but this one's got acrylic, I think. This is probably some sort of molded acrylic scale. Let's see. Did they call it something on the box? Oh my god, I put the box like this and now it's not coming out. There we go. Tidal resin. Black and blue. I don't know about black in there, but there's blues in there. Okay. Finch knives, if you have never seen one before, is sort of a modern traditional style knife using more modern features and materials. They're locking knives almost. I don't think they've ever even done a slip joint, but they kind of have some of the appearance of a slip joint. But they're small, sort of elegant and refined in appearance, but just slightly usually above the budget territory. Mostly because they've got the extra details, and they oftentimes use 154 cm, and etc., etc., etc. So, Finch knives Reciprocity, as I said, 154 cm. It is a flipper with, actually you can reverse flip this thing using the nail neck, or at least I can. Steel to keep the cost down, bolsters and liners, I guess that's an entire clip. On bearings. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Don't know where that was going. Don't know where that came from. Who knows? Let's get into the specs. 3 point, I'm going to call that 3 point, I don't know, 3.7. It's like, it's not quite 3 1/8. Maybe 3.1. 3.7. Where the heck was I going? No, 3.1 inches, give or take, on the blade. Of course, because this knife is not going to want to go perfectly even. It is really close to 7 inches overall. Which actually brings the handle down to slightly under 4 inches, which slightly over 3 inches, slightly under 4 inches, actually are really good ratios, even if it kind of doesn't look like it. The ratios from actual length of blade from tip to tip, mostly because the blade's a Warncliffe, is really good ratios. You've got a lot of blade for that handle. If you care about that sort of thing, this is something to pay attention to. I'm not someone who cares about that sort of thing. But, well, that's not true. I do not like when you have a giant handle and you have a stubby little blade sticking out. That looks always weird. But I like a little bit of balance. But I'm not a super interested in ratios determine all. No. Alright, where were we? Because I've gone off on several tangents here. Comparison knives. Small CVV Elementum. Full-size Conspirator. Yeah, this thing is very, very close to the Elementum in size. I'd say it is technically slightly bigger. The blade is about the same length. No, the blade's a tiny bit longer. The handle is about the same. So you got the same handle with tiniest bit more blade on there. than the Elementum. Which is kind of weird, because I don't remember the Elementum having those kinds of ratios. 3 inches, 4 inches. Okay, yeah, the Elementum does have pretty close to those same ratios. One more comparison, the AA batteries for the ability for anybody to compare to this knife, and you don't have 2 AA batteries in size, which is a rare thing actually on this channel. You have about 1 3/4 of a AA battery in grip size, which still does translate to me just barely. Like, if I go up here on my fingers, but if I go into where I actually put the knife when you're holding it, into the crook here, it's just barely getting all 4 fingers on there. But I can, with just a little bit of room, just a tiniest bit of room, just enough, basically, to still be comfortable. So, I don't think you're going to have a problem with the size unless you have really big mitts. Hardware check. That is a T6 in there. This should be T8 right there. Yes, it is. T8 pivot, T6 hardware everywhere else. I really don't like T6, but I especially don't like seeing T6 too often on budget knives. I'm going to say that I don't think I've experienced a problem with the T6 on the Finch, but they're not the deepest. I really think they need to either change these to T8 or just have them done differently, because these T6 worry me. They do. I remember that. They worry me. That's a thing. We are centered, I think. No, we're slightly off center. Yes. Interesting. When did you come off center? You know what? I don't actually think it's off center. It looks like it is. But when I look directly on against the light, it looks almost center. I think it might just be like the way the blade is ground a little bit, giving us a little bit of an optical illusion. I actually think it might be center. It's just really, really hard to tell. Like it buckles in differently from different sides. Yeah, sure. Sure, whatever he says. Not like you can argue, you're just watching the video. Unless you want to comment, in which case you can argue all you like. Less than half an inch on thickness of the handles. 0.115, 115 thousandths blade stock, and behind the edge, while it does not have the tallest grind on it, in fact, not particularly tall grind at all, I just dropped that. $15 thousandths behind the edge, not terrible. Like, this is a pretty reasonable behind the edge for a surprise. You look at this thing and you think it's going to be a super light duty, but this is actually surprisingly decent all-arounder geometry. It does get thick a bit quick, but I mean, that's just what you got with this grind on this thing. Zero out, there you go. There is no milling internally. None whatsoever. So, still, not that bad. 3.29 ounces, almost an ounce an inch, for a steel bolster lock. That's, with no milling, that's not bad. I kind of expected this thing to be heavier. Balance point is, it's a little bit butt heavy, but honestly, not too far behind where you're going to grip it. So, yeah, it's not bad. Is it... Yeah, there's still no play in there. Yeah, I think it's just kind of a bit of an optical illusion with the way the grind is done at the end, where it comes in a little bit more sharply from one side than the other. I think it actually is centered. Interesting. Alright, we're done with our specs here. That took a long time. It did. What are we looking at here? Blade, back to the blade. Finch, you have the name of the knife, Reciprocity. I don't like seeing the name of the knife on the knife. And you have the Finch logo, which, I mean, Yeah, they could have done it here, and it would have probably been fine, but they did it back here, and because they kept it off more of the blade, I'm not going to complain. The plunge grind is not great. In fact, it's not good. It hits the edge, but the stop pin is attached to the blade, so in fact, it's right there. So you can cut in more true. Also, I mean, with the height of this grind, you don't have a metric ton of life on this thing. Not truly. You could get probably up there a little bit. Maybe more than you'd expect, honestly. The tip, focus on the tip, focus on the tip. There it is. Yeah. You have an alright amount of life on it. You're not getting a million years of sharpening this thing, clearly, just with the grind, but is what it is. You've got satin flats. I don't know if they're actually hand satin, but they certainly look at they're horizontal. And you've got this pretty reflective, kind of, but at the same time foggy. It's a very interesting stone wash. It's reflective but foggy. Interesting. The entire steel also has what appears to be some sort of like hand satin kind of on it. Again, don't know if it's hand satin or just they, belt satined it there, but it all flows and does look good. You've got the nail neck, which, as I've demonstrated, can be used for reverse flicking, and of course it can just be used to pull open the knife. You've got jimping that is actually functional. This is not the kind of jimping that I love, not the best kind. It's a bit wide, it's a bit long, but it's just sharp enough to give you good traction. In fact, it's actually pretty sharp. Like, I wouldn't want to bear down on it for too long, but yeah, it works. You also have this flipper that sort of positions you to go into the blade edge because of the angle, but the jimping, again, this is where the jimping makes sense. It grips you. Like, I do not actually feel like I'm trying to push my finger forward, and it's gripping, it's stopping. You saw it just slip a little bit there. Like, it provides actual traction that keeps you from going up into that blade. So while I don't necessarily say it's super safe to do it, if you know what you're doing, you want to be careful, you want to get right behind that edge, you could do it here on this. I want to call it a Wharncliffe, but it's technically not. A Wharncliffe starts dropping further back, so it's like an extended point sheep's foot. I don't know. Typically, Wharncliffes start sloping further back here. This one goes out further. So I don't know what to call this blade shape. It is perfectly set straight, so it's something hybrid in between there. I guess Wharncliffe technically does cover all of the bases, doesn't it? Even sheep's foot are on some level of Wharncliffe, I think. So let's just call it that. Straight, very good for EDC. Straight blade, the Wharncliffe design, very accessible tip and very pokey tip on this particular one. Moving on from there, as I said, bearings, they're very small bearings. They're not the most premium of bearings in there. You can feel them, they're tiny, they are what they are. But it's still a shake-shut knife. Good detent. Steel is here with the resin, which actually has acceptable transitions. You can definitely feel them, but it's pretty good. It's not bad. The glow-in-the-dark clip, I don't think I can get it to glow at all, but not really. It looks decent. You can see how it has a little bit of like, I don't know if there was a moisture trapped under there, but you see how it has a little bit of a different tone under parts of it. It's just a cheap thing, but it adds something to the knife. It adds a elegance. It adds a shield crest to it, which is very old school, and for the most part, it looks good. It doesn't look like a super expensive or highly amazingly done one, but it's decent. This thing is, you're trying to get features and appearance of something that is both more traditional and high-end without breaking the bank. That's kind of what Finch are. So, yeah, it hits that mark. The scales are very nicely rounded. The edges very, very soft, very nice, very comfortable. It's super neutral. It's just a stick. And the popsicle stick clip is also a stick, which actually works here. I mean, it is thin. The Clip is large, takes up a lot of room, but it's not uncomfortable at all. It's super neutral, well-rounded, well-shaped, great retention. This is a good clip. This is a really good clip. It's not deep carry, but it is a really good clip. Lock bar axis is not bad. There's no chamfer or anything on it, but you've got this cutout that gives you access to this straight piece that definitely allows you to get from the side, and it's fine. So overall, yeah, it shapes up and looks to be a really good knife. However, there is one thing that I have to say about Finch knives, and I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure how to describe it. And I've had this experience with 2 other of these that got sent back. I kept giving a chance. And 1 other Finch knife that also got sent back. Let's just collect myself for a second and try to figure out how I want to talk about this. Okay. Something is going on in the pivot of Finch knives. It seems, as I said, 4 knives all have it. This one has it to a very minimal extent, but it's definitely there. And that is that, first of all, it's not a fidgety knife because of this issue. But it seems to get tighter and bumpier the more times you flip it in a row. It's like the pivot needs adjusting, or it comes off as it's being actuated multiple times, and it starts getting... one of the other ones would literally just get like sort of stuck. It would start getting really tight in this area, and this one you can feel it. It's actually a little bit tighter right here along its travel point. It wasn't that way when I first opened it. It's like opening and actuating these things a couple times. The pivots, I don't know, they're hitting against something, or they're not dead center, or they come off from and need adjustment quickly, but it doesn't always stick either. Like this, I put this thing down, let it sort of calm back down, and it'll be kind of back to normal when I pick it up the next time, but a handful of flips in, and it won't shake shut. Like the ones that I sent back, like I said, were a lot worse. It would get to a point where it was like this, and it just was so tight in this area that it wouldn't shake shut past it. And it didn't start out that way. I would get 20, 30, 40 flips in, and it'd be fine. And then it starts creeping in, and then it's there. And when I sent the first one back, did I talk to Finch? I don't remember. I think so. Yeah, I did. I talked to Finch, even though I got it through a vendor. I referred to Finch, and they said that sounds like it needs a pivot adjustment. Like something about the pivot wasn't holding in place or something. And then I got a second one, and it did the same thing. Then I got this one, and this one seems to mostly be okay. It doesn't really happen very often. It really takes... I haven't really pushed this one to, like, fidget with it, because I don't want to see if it happens on this one, even though it does seem to, for some reason, go away after some period of time, which makes no sense. Maybe just, like, the angles sort of, like, correct themselves a little bit in there, somehow. And then I got another Finch knife, a different model, and it happened again. This may be a me thing. I've heard predominantly good about Finch, and as the company stands, like, the people to interact with and everything like that, and I think they're trying to do really good, and I like what they're doing. Seemed reasonably friendly, seemed perfectly fine. And I honestly have no idea what could possibly be going wrong in here. So, I mean, maybe if you do, that would be something to leave in a comment or something, because I'd appreciate it, really. It just... it's inconsistent. Like this. Look, like it's back to normal. It started getting tight for a second there. It's back to normal. The tightness is completely gone. What is that? It's like when you throw it out with the flick or with the flipper, it hits hard enough that something gets off kilter a little bit, and it has to sort of just realign itself, everything in here, and the pivot. That's the only thing I can think of. But now it's doing that again, and for a second there, it was getting a little bit tight. This one, like I said, is by far the best one. It seems to be coming and going. It doesn't seem to be getting at all severe, and like in this state, if you get one like this, I would say, yeah, this is a recommendable knife. It's over $100. It's not a budget knife, but it's definitely doing what it needs to justify its price. The other ones of this one, well, they got sent back because they weren't good. And the other one, I don't remember what the other model was. I've had it for a while, so yeah. But it's just this inconsistency in alignment of the parts or the pivot that can seem to come and go. And on the first one that I got was pretty substantially bad. Like, I can't say anything, but it was bad. It would get so tight that wouldn't drop shot. I couldn't go like this to get it to go further. It would like tighten up right in that area. I don't know. I say give them a try, but just make sure you play with it a little bit when you first get it. Beyond just, 10 flips open and close to make sure it's smooth and make sure it can start to... Hello, dog. Breaking in. Apparently, I've gone over my time. So, I'm getting the warning. So, yeah, just be on the lookout for that. Other than that, I like the knife. I like this brand. I like some of their models, but I've been hesitant to pull the trigger on more of them. Let me know if you have a different experience. I'd like to hear that this was a odd freak thing, but it's happened 3.5 times at this point. I don't know. And especially if you happen to know what the heck it is, I'd appreciate hearing from you. That's everything for me today. I'm going to call it here. I don't expect most people to make it to this part of the video. It's definitely run on. But I appreciate you if you've watched any length of the video. Have a great day, and see you in the next one.